Yo, 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 Fearmaky guys. We're back with yet another video for Hero Siege Season 12. Yes, 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 the patch notes is finally out. And we have to do a video on it and dive into it. There's so many changes, so many quality of life additions to the game. You guys are going to absolutely love it. But first of all, I want to thank each and every one of you for your overwhelming support, man, during Season 12. We hit over 1,000 subscribers because of you guys, so I want to thank you guys very much for that. It's been an amazing experience and journey, and it's been well worth it, so thank you guys very much. So anyways, Season 12 patch notes, man. Look at this. Let's dive into it because it's a long list and we don't want to drag this out, but this should be a good video with some good, footage for you guys. This way, if you're on the road, you're driving somewhere, etc., you can just listen into the patch notes. So patch notes, Season 12, General. Absorb shields are now shown in your health bar. Enemies, let me lower the music here a little bit. So absorb shields are now shown in your health bar. Enemies and bosses have unique cooldowns for each ability, and the system is more dynamic. So this is in the option settings. You'll see it later. You can go in there and you'll be able to see, I don't know if you guys play World of Warcraft, it's like a WeColors. It's really cool. It shows the ability cooldown timers, how long the abilities last for. It's really awesome. It's like a mini add-on inside Hero Siege. It's really cool. Projectiles now move relative to player speed, more dynamic, plus won't outrun your projectiles. I noticed this on the Demon Slayer as I'm shooting. Definitely the projectiles are keeping up with me, so that's pretty cool to see. Movement skills now check if you have flying and will pass terrain that requires flying. Added tooltips to relics, so you can mouse over the relics and see exactly what they do. Some of them are still bugged. It won't show, but hopefully they'll be fixed by the release of the season. Remove projectile blocking capabilities from Paladin's Blessed Shields and Demon Spawn's Bone Storm. These, along with high damage reduction or avoidances, will make you nearly unkillable. I agree with that. They're balancing the game out. You can now see your party member's location on your screen easily. I did not test this yet. I was doing a solo, but according to a friend, it is much easier to see, aside from the little dots on the map. You can now set a confirmation option for picking up relics. This can be toggled on or off based on preference. I did not test this yet, but the option is there. Remove D-tier satanics from black market and satanic crafting. This is pretty cool because this would allow you to acquire more reds, from the black market as opposed to D-tier. You can get better quality satanics now. Also when you craft it. We have overhauled the dodge and block system. This new system will allow you to be able to dodge and block when you are at 0 stacks, but it reduces your maximum cap. Melee characters using a shield will have a maximum of 75% block/dodge with no charges up. Ranged characters using a shield will have a maximum of 35% block and dodge with no charges up. Without a shield, melee characters remain at the 75% dodge block, and ranged characters will remain at 25% dodge block without charges. This allows you to maintain some avoidance even when your charges reach 0. This is pretty cool. So this is, how you were getting one shot before with no block and dodge stacks. This will allow you now to actually survive some of those mechanics. Along with the absorption shield that you see on your health bar, as long as that's up and you don't have any dodge and health stacks, you'll be able to survive. As we dive deep into the season and we learn more together, I'll be releasing videos and guides on how to play around that to help you guys. But I definitely like the direction they're going with this. All stats, armor potions should now show in the item tool tip properly. Added the new item scrap system for Steam Crate. This allows you to scrap unwanted Steam cosmetics into scraps. 10 scraps will provide you with another key. This is pretty cool for those that like cosmetics. Now you can actually get scraps and get another key if you have too many of the same items. Text is displayed whether your character can or cannot equip the Steam Crate cosmetic. That's pretty cool. Added a new cooldown system to casted abilities. Each ability now has a longer cooldown. However, every point you skill will reduce the cooldown by 1% of a second. These only apply to your own skilled points, not plus talents. This change was made to reduce the need to spam abilities you only have 1 point into. It makes other abilities require talents to get the full usage. This is another, I think, cool addition on how they're trying to balance out the talent tree. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out and as I test out the classes during the season. But I like the direction this is going as well. Change how mining functions. Now it takes 1 successful attempt to break the entire node. I will be displaying this in the video. This is an amazing change. Because sitting there while you're trying to farm and hitting the mine nodes over and over and over again, you know, trying to line up the little dot, really wasn't farm friendly. This new way is good. I would rather have the set bonus or item where you can break the node immediately, but this is a step in the right direction. Improve refresh rate options. I didn't mess with the refresh rate, but I'm sure this is going to help a lot of people out who does not have 120 or 165 hertz. Chaos Tower, Rift, Shadow Realm, Dungeons, etc. now have their own tiles, so in theory you can find all of these from one map. So this is cool. What's hidden behind this patch note here is, even though it's a new season, all of the previous seasons seasonal themes is remaining, and I'm okay with that. You know, the Shadow Realm, the Chaos Tower, and the Rifts are all staying, which is pretty cool. Added price to merchant confirmation prompt. Added a single hit system. This will properly calculate damage when one projectile hits multiple enemies. So added a single hit system. This one I'll probably calculate damage. So that's pretty cool. I guess if you have multiple projectiles but only one is hidden, I guess if one hits it deals all the damage, I'm assuming. I'll have to confirm that with Wooxie. But that's pretty cool if that is the case, because that will fix the ranged close talent trees, you know, especially on the Demon Slayer and all that. Synced shield cosmetics in online so other players will be able to see it now. Increased experience from quests. That's cool. Change how our dot system works. Now each player can individually apply their own dots/debuffs without conflicting with others. Added minimap zoom with mouse wheel. Added minimap moving with pressing and dragging minimap with mouse wheel. Change whisper color for clarity. Increased Inferno 2 to 5 enemy HP, damage, player experience, and magic find. That's pretty cool. So Inferno's 2 to 5 is going to scale differently and be better. Added new season 12 mechanic, void portals. When you encounter a void portal, you run into it. To activate it, it will spawn a large zone constantly that will spawn mobs that drop additional loot. They also drop fragments to enter the boss layer. You need to have 100 fragments to enter the boss zone. The boss has 4 unique drops. I haven't encountered this yet, but obviously this is the new seasonal theme, void portals. So we're going to do a separate video just, you know, deep diving into the seasonal theme void portals. Weapon abilities. Arcane Fury damage has been reduced. Arcane Fury can now only roll on caster weapons. Arcane Fury Desynced has been fixed. Increased proc rate of Wind Fury from 10 to 20%. I think Arcane Fury did need a fix. That's pretty cool to see the proc rate increase on Wind Fury. Relics. Reduced Storm Dagger proc rate from 36 to 22%. This did way too much damage. Changed tokens of Lux Magic Find bonus from 50 to 200%. Increased Bonsai Tree to 3% from all stats from 1%. That's pretty cool. Items. Reworked every item in the game from stats to item tiers. All changes can be seen under the Season 12. Let me lower the sound here a little bit. All changes can be seen under the Season 12 item change list sheet at the bottom of the page. Changed angelic drop rate from 1 1 2.5 million to 1 750,000. So that means, so 1 in 2.5 million items drops, you would have a chance to get an angelic. Now it's down to 1 in 750,000 item drops. You have a chance to get an angelic. That's significantly higher now, like 3 times higher than what it was before. You know, literally 3 times higher. So I think that's really cool that they did that, to allow players, you know, to actually get angelics. To go through a whole season and like you and a handful of friends never see an angelic aside from the auction house was not fun. Plus, you couldn't even put builds around it because they don't exist. So I like that. Many rune words are changing from a randomly selected element to purely elemental damage. This is massive. This is going to shake up the meta, all the items that you use on each class and each build drastically. Because now you don't have to rely on a rune word to roll that certain element type, that certain damage type that you need. It can just roll elemental damage and that's it. You're done. It applies to everything. So that's huge. Change Satan's set to now properly give 25% armor break per application. Change most boss items into elemental damage and max sockets on the SS tier Satanics we missed. That's pretty cool. Introducing 16 new sets and 1 revamped set of class set items to the game for secondary class trees. I have not seen all the set items yet, and the local editor is not updated yet for us to see that. But that's pretty cool that they introduced all these new sets. It's definitely going to shake up the season and the classes up. Increase the damage of some angelics. That was needed. Reduce the cooldown of Revelation to 6 seconds. Increase the damage of Revelation active. Reduce critical rate damage of some items. Rebalanced all shields due to dodge/block revamp. Mevius Chaos Meteor is now based off your class elemental damage plus weapon damage. Reduce the damage from Steve's set by a bit. These provided too much damage. Added 3 new rune word weapons. Arcanum, Carnage, and Virulence. These are the new rune words which we're going to dive into. Nerfed the effects from Damien's set a bit. The damage scaling was a little too high. Changed the stat addition to Gem King's Garb for perfect topaz. They will now give armor instead of magic find and lightning resistance. Increase magic find on all magic items substantially. Fix the pirate captain set from also giving 100% additional damage and increase bomb barrel size. This was the old set bonus and it never got deleted. Added the cloud key. This will take you to Shaponia when used at the demon statue near the gravestone in town. Sights of the Gods now grants a bit bigger AoE vision. Amazon set now grants 50% additional poison damage instead of 25. Changed required level for C tier Satanics to 68 and B tier Satanics to 88. Increase the HP summons you get from Death Lord's set from 100% to 250%. Pyromancer's Firefly now gives additional damage to Fireflies while using it. Drastically increased rune drop rates. That's pretty cool. Increased Doctor Set Plague damage bonus by 100%. Slayer set now provides additional damage to Bullet Hell while using ranged. In Demon form, it will cause you to shoot projectiles every auto attack. I gotta try this out. I have not tried it yet. Enemies. Aggro detection to enemies. This means when you attack an enemy from far away, they will begin to pursue you. Added damage meter, so no more test dummies needed. That is a massive addition to the game. The DPS meter you need to activate under the options menu is really cool. Now you can actually test each map, each boss, even the wormholes, as opposed to, you know, being at the dummy all day in town. So that's an amazing addition. I gotta say, you know, big props to Wooksy and you know, Panic Art Studios aside from the modded version of Grim Dawn, which was okay, Hero Siege now is officially, if I'm correct, the first ARPG, seasonal ARPG, to have a actual damage meter, dynamic damage meter while you play the game. That is absolutely amazing. I mean, again, if you play, if anybody here plays World of Warcraft, you guys know how heavy the game is on add-ons, especially with damage meters with recount and details. It's just, it's fun. It's fun, pushing yourself, being competitive, gauging how well you're doing, how geared you are, if your build is working correctly, how it's performing, and to be able to gauge that live dynamically in a ARPG, I think is priceless. The fact that other, big ARPGs haven't done that yet is crazy to me. But big props to Wuxie and Panic Art Studios for this. This is a massive addition, the damage meters to the game. Anyways, added boss time ability timer, which is also an amazing mini Wii for the game. Reduce Uber Reaper's damage by 15%. Change cast times on Uber Reaper's abilities. Change all Uber rooms to monster level 666. Monster damage is no longer capped at 1000 monster level. It is now capped at 2000 monster level. This is pretty cool. This changes up the wormhole a little bit. Reduce the mass size of Death Coil a little bit. These were extremely hard to dodge and sometimes would clip you even if you weren't out of the way. Even if you were out of the way. Zones and instances. This, I love this. I mean, we recommended something similar to this or along these lines back in season 11. And I'm glad that they did something different with Unstable Rifts. Unstable Rift has had a rework. It now teleports you to one of the following random locations. Has a 50% chance to be the original Unstable Rift. The monster spawn rate and monster quantity has drastically increased. I hope they come faster. 25% random Chaos Tower floor. This will not affect your Chaos Tower progression in any way. 15% random key dungeon. 7% Shadow Realm. 3% chance to be a Rift treasure. 1% chance to be the Empty Void. In essence, always take the Unstable Rift in Season 12 now. It will definitely be worth it. Increased token drop rates from Unstable Rifts. Shiponia has been entirely remade to be more thematic and linear. That's awesome. Added keybinders for show loot alts and new player list is S? I don't know what that is. Maybe Shift Tab. Added 5 newly created key dungeons and zones. So Act 2, Zone 5. Act 3, Zone 2. Act 3, Zone 5. Act 4, Zone 4. And Act 5, Zone 1. There will be more created in the future. So pretty much there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 new dungeons added to the game. I know it's the Sand Caverns in Devil's Hole. Devil's Hole is bugged right now. When you try to zone in, the game pretty much locks up and you have to Alt F4 and go back in. But I do have footage of the Sand Caverns. It's pretty cool. Added 5 newly created key dungeons and zone. Okay, we went through that. The more rare Chaos Tile floors can now come with a static Chaos Shrine spawn. So the Sand Caverns also has a Chaos Shrine in it. I've encountered like 8 of them. And all 8 had a Chaos Shrine at the end. I think that is static in that. I don't know if it's intended, but I hope it is. It's pretty cool. And I guess the Chaos Towers now will also come. The more rare ones will also come with the static Chaos Shrine in it. We have placed larger air pockets at the entrance and exits of underwater zones, so there is no silly deaths, disconnects and deaths. That's pretty cool. Because going into that water stage there and then drowning or you disconnected or even if you went AFK was pretty bad. Key dungeons and chests are now more rewarding. That's awesome. Uber chest is now more rewarding. Uber Enoya can now drop all boss sets and Steve set items. That's really cool. Another avenue to get Steve set. Uber Enoya is now level 666. Uber Enoya has been recreated. Reaper's Breach is now monster level 666. Key dungeons on Inferno are now monster level 500. All overworld zones can now spawn with multiple special tiles. For example, you can get a Chaos Shrine, a Chaos Tower, and Shadow Rift in one zone. Wow, that is awesome. So in one tile, you can get a Chaos Shrine, a Chaos Tower, and a Shadow Rift all in one zone. That's pretty cool. Wormholes. Removed Parasect and Annie as bosses. That's an amazing change. Yeah, those bosses needed to be reworked or eliminated, so that's definitely the right call. Added Calcifer and Kayako as bosses, so they removed 2 and added 2. Change monster level progression from +8 to +25 per successful wormhole. So what this means is wormholes is going to scale a lot harder and a lot higher now, which is cool, you know, because running 3,000, 5,000 wormholes, I've always said that is not good content. I hope they do change that in the future. Completely revamped wormhole maps. They are now all handcrafted maps rather than auto-generated. This allows you to have better boss areas and less obstructions. There are 10 new maps to check out. That's pretty cool. Remove nests and dens from wormholes. And then you have a ton of fixes. We're not going to get into all of these, but we'll talk about the noticeable ones. Fixed elemental break having 100% proc rate. Now it's 25% like the other breaks, which is cool. Made some improvements to the minimap. Fixed flask and projectile frame dependency. Auction house and trade. Added search functions for rune words. Fixed issues on PC and mobile interaction with auction house tax. Added pending request in-game pop-up trade. So let's get into the class changes. This is really cool. Demon Slayer. Increased damage of bullet hell. Fixed cast delay on lower hertz settings. So hopefully it is. So now even if you have 60 hertz, you'll still have 100% uptime on bullet hell. Heavily increased the damage of slice of shadows. Increased proc rate of slice of shadows. Fix all cooldowns to be able to get full uptime with 50% CDR. Now that we have changed the set. Change vitals to have 4 cardinal directions rather than 8. Should give you more uptime on vitals damage. I still think that needs to be reworked. The whole thing of how vitals proc, and then you have to position yourself around the mob, certain bosses, is really not realistic, but we'll see. Paladin. Reduce steel shields damage. Reduce steel shields proc chance by a small amount. Increase lightning fury damage slightly. Reduce steel shield proc rate slightly. Buffed infusion of righteous slightly. Increase scaling on thunder hammers. Swapped thunder hammers and false salvation on the tree. Increased holy damage. Marksman. This class had a major damage bug in season 11 that has been fixed. Okay. Reduced damage on multi-shot turrets. Explosive Technician has received a small damage increase to the flat damage. This will help during leveling. Added damage scaling to agility. That's pretty cool. This stopped working for some reason. Increased agility scaling. Increased master mechanic scaling. Decreased the damage of gunner drones slightly. Maybe because with all those changes, the gunner drones are actually doing a lot. White Mage. Heavily buffed Curse. Heavily buffed Fanatism Aura. Increased Curse proc rate. Increased Chain Lightning damage. Increased Malediction scaling. Reduced damage of Restless Spirits. Increased Mana Orbs damage. Increased tick rate on Mana Orbs. I like that. Reduced scaling on Soul Spurn. Reduced scaling on Absorb Shield. Reduced scaling on Healing Zone. Absorb Shield is now connected to the tree. increased heavenly fire damage, increased burst of light damage, increased benediction scaling. I really think the white mage changes look really cool. I can't wait to test it. Shield Lancer heavily increased the rate of how much damage and damage return inflicts for Lancer. This is huge because this was not working in Season 11 at all. Buffed Flank, buffed Defenseless, buffed Crash and Lance, buffed Flank proc rate, added 10% damage reduction to Steel Shields, increased the additional return damage proc rate. So this is a very good damage return skill now. Buffed Glory Scaling, increased the time between additional damage reduction procs to once every second, added 10% damage reduction with shield wall up. Using Thrust on the Throw Lance will pull you to the lance. That's pretty cool. Reduce scaling on Thor's Fury. Amazon, increased Master Poisoner damage, increased damage of Poison Knives, increased damage of Death from Above, increased damage of Leap, increased damage of Caustic Spearhead, increased damage from Toxic Remains, increased Lightning Dash damage, increased Envenom scaling, increased Envenom's cooldown to naturally allow stacks to drop while maxed out. This will not cause your stacks to be reduced. It will be overlapped with the new instance of poison damage. This is to prevent infinite Envenom scaling. I think that's pretty clever what he did to fix the infinite scaling. So that's pretty cool. So you pretty much have a longer cooldown now where you can't spam it, and this will cause your stacks to be reduced, and they will only overlap with the new instance of the poison damage. But hopefully it actually does good damage though to compensate from it not stacking infinitely. Reduce Lightning Dash cooldown from 2.5 seconds from 3. Increase Tropical Thunder's damage. Increase Spear Niche damage. I think the dash cooldown is pretty cool. It's going to give more mobility to Amazon as needed. I mean, season, I think it was 7, they used to move really good. And then I don't know what happened there. Viking, this class had a major damage bug in Season 11 that has been fixed. Increased the proc rate of Stone Skin from 20% to 38%. Increased damage scaling of Whirlwind. Increased Shield Bash damage. Increased the speed of Whirlwind tick rate from 0.35 to 0.30. That's pretty cool. Increased the damage of Seismic Slam. Increased the damage of Throw. Increased scaling of Weapon Master. And yeah, increased damage from Shockwave. And onto the Pyromancer. Increased Pyrokinetic Disorder damage. Increased tick rate from Pyrokinetic Disorder from 1 tick per second to 3 ticks per second. That's pretty cool. So definitely a huge buff to the Pyromancer as needed. Increased Comet damage a bit. Increased Meteor damage a bit. Increased Scaling of Calamity a bit. Fixed Pandemonium of Flames not applying properly. Fixed second degree burns, not applying properly. Increased flame shield scaling. Flame shields now give 10% damage reduction while active. Let me get a drink of water here, one sec. Increased proc rate of burning. Increased damage of blazing trail. Increased the damage of scaling of Splitfire. Increased damage of Armageddon. Increased damage of Fire Swarm. Increased damage of Fire Nova. Increase the scaling of burning. Reduce how many Hydras can be out at one time. Decrease Hydra damage. Increase damage on Inferno. So, much needed. Pyromancer was definitely underperforming. I'm really glad that he did this. Plague Doctor. This class had a major damage bug in Season 11 that has been fixed. Reduced the cooldown on surgical bloodletting from 3 seconds to 2.5. Reduced the scaling of lifeblood aura. Buffed Defunct Surgeon scaling slightly. Buffed Booster Shot proc rate. Buff scaling of Plague Master. Increased damage of Rat King. increased damage of malpractice, increased damage of surgical bloodletting, increased damage of jar of leeches, increased damage of crematus, increased oops damage, increased the damage of toxic flask, increased tick rate AoE of toxic flask. Really cool. Much needed. The plague doctor also needed a buff. I like it. Redneck, increased damage of stomp, increased damage of bear trap. Chainsaw Massacre now properly applies armor break from talents. Increased Chainsaw Massacre's tick rate, increased Chainsaw Massacre damage, increased fire break damage, increased spontaneous combustion damage, increased combustible oil scaling, fix an issue with Chainsaw Massacre not proccing armor break, made stamina and armor percentage static on durable wear, and now only procs movement speed. Made stamina percentage and armor percentage static on durable wear. And now only procs movement speed. Okay, we'll have to test that out. Necromancer, poison barb now deals damage. Somehow the skill hasn't been doing damage since season 10. Yeah, you can say that again. That's cool that you fixed it though. Increased damage of lingering toxins. Poison burst now shoots further. Vengeful spirits damage and attack speed has been increased. Demon spawn. Increased damage of blood surge. Increased blood tendril scaling. Increased demonic presence scaling. Increased blood demons damage. Increased bone fragment damage. Increased impale damage. Increased damage of bone storm. Cartilage buildup damage. Spinal tap damage. Damage of bone barrage. That's pretty cool. Marauder. Increased proc rate of heavy ball. Increased damage scaling of heavy ball. Damage scaling of wrecking ball. Damage scaling of overwhelming force. Buff madness of the arena. Buff serrated chains. Buff the rend flesh. Reduced proc rate of unstable bomb from 22 to 14%. Reduce the proc rate, okay. Reduced unstable bomb damage. Madness control is now attached to the tree. Increased damage of chain trap. Increased master trap scaling. Increase the scaling of madness of the arena. Increase heavy ball proc rate. Increase random scatter proc rate. Increase unstable proc rate. Bomb proc rate. Pirate. Increase the damage of explosive barrel, buckshot. Decreased bomb barrel, bomb barrage damage. Increased cannonball damage, grenade jump damage. Increased damage of powder trail. Increased scaling of explosive bullets. Damage of kneecap. Increased scaling of rapid fire slightly. Increased damage of freezing shot. Increased damage of torrent. Damage of the parrot. Damage of anchor swing. Increased scaling of remages. Increased scaling of frozen lead. Heavily buffed magic find on treasure hunter. Reduced cooldown on Landahoy slightly. Increased the damage of Landahoy. Increased all gunner trees proc rates. That's pretty cool. Nomad. Increased the scaling of Phantom Blade slightly. Increased damage of Eye of Ra. Increased Sunray damage. Increased damage of wind and sand. Increased sand tremors damage. Increased demolishing tornado damage. Increased sandstorm damage. I'm glad they're doing this again because Nomad, man, it was really cool in like season 8, 9, and 10, and then it just fell off. But I'm glad that they're buffing them again. So Samurai also got a lot of changes. Increased glance damage, warrior plumage damage, smoke bomb damage. Evasion now shows dodge chance. Increased damage of evasion, damage of shuriken throw, scaling of shadow clone, damage of explosive kunai, scaling of live by the sword, damage for fan of knives, increased damage for omni slash. I hope they fix the charge on it though. Increased damage of exploding bolas, increased damage of blade barrier, fixed blade barrier to show dodge and block values, increased damage from way of the warrior, increased damage from shadow step, increased damage of empire slash. And then finally, Shamans. Increased damage of Storm Totem, increased damage of Totems, increased damage of Fire Totem, increased damage of Earth Totem, increased Elemental Blast damage. Change to Tomic Awakening skill. This will no longer provide a buff to the player and totems. It will now summon a very large totem that deals heavy damage. I think that's pretty cool. And then last but not least, Jotun. He will not be released until our next expansion. Keyword, expansion. I have not spoken to Wooksy about this, but I think this gives out a lot of information here. Will the wormhole changes, all the changes in systems that was discussed, and obviously Jotun is going to come in not in season 13 but a new expansion? Could there be a expansion in the works for Hero Siege aside from obviously the seasons, you know, which will definitely keep happening? Stay tuned and find out. I'll reach out to Wooksy and ask him and see what we can get, but that's huge. That's definitely huge. I don't know if he meant to say not until our next season, but it clearly says our next expansion. So that's a pretty big deal, man. If they're working on an expansion for Hero Siege, that's pretty big news. You know, I'll be excited to hear that from him. Also on this, I'll put a link on the description to the spreadsheet. You can see the season 12 item changes on the second tab as well. We're not going to go through them. The video is already 30 minutes long, but you can go through all of them and see, you know, all the changes, the room words up there, and everything that they've done to every single item in the game, which is pretty massive. You know, this game's definitely going to be different. The season's going to be different. So look forward to that. All right. But until the next time, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed these patch notes. I just wanted to get it out to you guys to show you what they are. And I will be leveling each class for the beta. And I'll be, you know, making videos and content for it. And yeah, let me know on the comments below, guys, what type of content you guys want to see for season 12 from me. Obviously in season 11 we did every meta build for every class, and the feedback I got the most was, can I get beginner guides, can I get beginner guides, can I get tips? A lot of the people, I felt like they felt left out, you know, because, you know, some of them want something to start out with, to farm easily, to level up easily, you know, because they're not at end game, or they can't get to end game as fast as some of the other players. So I know that's been a huge request. If that is still the consensus, please leave it in the comments below, and that will definitely drive me in the direction of what content to create for you guys. But I did express in a couple of my videos and even responses to you guys that I will be making beginner videos, you know, leveling videos, you know, for the classes. So I'll definitely focus on that. But you know, if you guys want to see something else, or if that's really what you want, you know, just let me know in the comments below. You guys take care. Go out there, test any bugs, anything you guys encounter. Please put it up on Hero Siege Discord. And it's been a pleasure, man. You guys stay safe and roll deep. Woo!